These are my psychological evaluations. We're going to go over those. These are the disability rights and the abuse and neglect paperwork for the instructions that I've been trying to get people to follow. Unfortunately, everybody thinks they know better than the instructions I'm told to follow. All right, this right here is Claire Jordan. This is also the stalking order against Andrew Wolnez. It was absolutely granted. Now we're going to press play on this. Ready? This is Claire Jordan.
I'm in one of the canyons, so I just have to get all the way back up to Estes where I work. Anyway, yeah, I absolutely understand those situations, and I'd love to testify about it because I had so many situations where basically, like, it's like the Stanford prison experiment on a massive scale out there. It's fucking disgusting. People drive people to madness over like power and control. Like they really get a kick out of controlling the homeless population out there, but then they don't actually want to do anything about it, and so they just push people until they break. And then when they break, they're like, oh, see, this is why you can't function in society. It's like, oh, okay, so you're going to torture me for 4 months, use all my resources, send me in endless loops to go check out other resources, other places until I have less than I started with. Take away every basic necessity of living and comfort. Maslow's hierarchy of basic needs, man. Like, no shelter, no food. Yeah, people are going to lose their shit. And you start treating people like they have less than animal rights, you're going to end up with a lot of people that are basically gone feral, and now you're cornering them and threatening them. Of course they're going to fight back. That's not a mental health problem. That's torture.
Exactly. Now let's get into that. So what we're going to be going over out of all of this crap is, first, we're going to go over my mental health evaluations. All of them. Real quick. And then we're going to go over the paperwork here. This is from Tillamook Family Counseling Center. This is who Claire was talking about. And we're going to go over all of the lies in here because that is important. Here is one of many verifications by Deputy Taylor about the honesty of the situation. Here is a verification from Deputy David Fenewald. The purpose of this is to show the corruption of Tillamook County. This right here is evidence that I obtained from Deputy Chase Moody. This evidence shows that Claire Jordan was in contact with me about the abuse that she was enduring, and she also verified many things about the abuse I was enduring. This includes accusations of abuse against a minor, and Chase Moody felt that this needed to be investigated. So did I, and so did many others, but nobody tried investigating. The main thing that we're discrediting here is, well, everything that the people at TFCC said was a lie. Well, almost everything. They wrote from the very start that I had a PTSD diagnosis, and we're going to go over the diagnoses here. We're also going to go over the rights that were denied to me by pretending that my evidence are all delusions. Now we're going to go over actual video evidence that proves that these are not delusions right now. All right, so this video, I'm not sure if you can see in the corner, it says A&E. Now this is only from 3 months ago, and they've only had about 780,000 views on it. Obviously 10,000 likes. I liked it, not because I actually liked the video, because it's actually a place saver when you click the like button. Now this situation, we can just scroll through it. That's Natalie's mother, by the way. In this, she talks about what a wonderful person Natalie was, and Natalie was a wonderful person in real life. But of course, it's not just for mental health issues. They wanted to ignore the drug use. And they also, you see that guy right there? That's a picture of me. People want to pretend that this is a delusion. It's absolutely not. Now, this particular video that they have posted up there, that's actually a video of me trying to turn in the abuse before Natalie was killed. Trying to turn in the physical assaults, the fact that I was literally being treated like a child molester and rapist, and I never raped anybody, and I never hurt killed. That's so messed up. Natalie never accused me of those things, though. People who wanted to impress her, people who had made mistakes with her and were strung out on drugs, continued to mess with me until I had a mental breakdown and I had to beg for help. But nobody wants to hear that. Meanwhile, you can see very clearly. Let's play some of this for you so that you can hear how creepy they try to make me out to sound. All right, first, let's go to the part with Detective Peterson. So, what happened in this situation? Did they play the whole thing? I was there for several hours. Now, I've been denied the right or access to this video, but apparently the media has access to it because I don't have any money. Now, I'm told that this is a delusion. This is actually what the people at TFCC wrote down in the paperwork, and we're going to go through that in a little bit. We're going to go over who it is that's able to diagnose schizophrenia and delusions, and we're also, while we're showing that these are not delusions and that I'm also not the only victim, we're also going to show the paperwork from Dr. Pekanu. We're going to show the paperwork from Marcia Estrada and from Dr. Leslie Carter and several other doctors who state outright that I am not schizophrenic nor delusional. Now, that's very specifically because Deputy Taylor wrote on an inmate request form that the Natalie Bollinger situation was true. He knew it was true because he follows true crime. Where was that part anyway? Here it is. I actually haven't been able to play it this far in, just so you know. It says, December 29th.
Did you leave the house at all?
I want to pause that because it's important to read that. I haven't actually.
I was terrified of being so far away. I remember calling the detective that had
That's
been
Rose.
assigned the case.
She is a horrible
I just said
person.
to him, "You need to take this seriously." I flew across the country on a red eye.
That's what I said too. I said repeatedly before she was killed, people need to take this seriously. I'm being harmed. People are threatening to kill me. They're threatening to kill my friends and family. And there is so much evidence of that. We're going to pause this for a second. These are recent. I want you to read those. That's what people send me. I've been getting those for years, literally for years. These folks want me to pretend that I'm a pedophile or they're going to kill my friends and family. They send a lot of hate stuff and threaten to kill me over and over and over again. That's to the TFCC investigator. The TFCC investigator here wanted to pretend that those were threats against her. That's in the TFCC paperwork as well. So you've gotten to see a verification of that. By the way, there's a whole bunch of it. I was told to type the stuff that people were saying if it wasn't recorded, to send screenshots of the things that people were sending to me. Here's one. You see this stuff? Yeah, this is not a delusion. And this stuff has been going on for years. There's also all the restricted calls that I've received. Look at those. Those were all in one day. All of them. This is stuff that was sent to their investigator. And their investigator for TFCC pretended that I threatened to kill her. There are no threats against her life in here whatsoever. I typed the stuff that was typed to me. I sent the screenshots of the stuff that was screenshotted to me. This is my little sister sent this to me. She Typed, I made it home safely. I typed, very good. She typed, I was followed by cops, then had some guy threaten me that if I don't walk away now, me and Destiny are going to get hurt or even killed. I typed, well, I'm going live about it right now. That was from, I want to say, 3 or 4 years ago. It's a very real situation, and here's why. There are hundreds of these sites. They don't care what the truth is. I have the evidence that shows the truth, but nobody wants to hear it.
I didn't get a wink of sleep that night.
Neither did I. I had to call them repeatedly. Oh, come on, pause. All right, it says, December 29th, 2017, Adams County Sheriff's Office locates Sean Schwartz staying at a friend's apartment and bring him in for questioning. The reality is I had to call them repeatedly to tell them what was going on. Over and over and over again, I had to call them because they weren't interested. Finally, by the 29th, I was able to convince them to hear what I had to say and look at what was on my computer and what was on my phone, because it showed that I was the victim, but it also showed the people who actually were the predators in her life. I had to fight to get them to listen to me.
Did you leave the house at all for the rest of Wednesday?
No, I'm gonna put some shit. Hopefully you guys not doing this.
I'm scared of them because of all of the assaults, because I'm too disabled to protect myself against these people. We're going to get into that too. Now you get to see that that's me in that room, and hopefully I can watch this without being triggered. You get to hear a lot of people talking about being triggered, how these things trigger them. Well, it triggers me too, and I do have diagnoses of PTSD, a bunch of them.
People scared.
Okay. So then you go to sleep at the apartment that night? Wake up Thursday morning at the apartment? Okay. Let's talk about Thursday. What goes on Thursday?
Same thing. Like I really didn't go anywhere.
Stayed at the apartment all day?
I was there all day.
Okay.
So I haven't left there except to go to the corner store to get stuff.
On Wednesday?
I don't know what days, but everything's pretty. There might have been a purchase or two I made with cash, but I'm pretty sure all my purchases were made on my debit card.
That would allow them to be able to tell where my purchases were made. It was within like a block and a half of Kayla Trujillo's house. That's who I was staying with. And I hadn't gotten any sleep. I was scared. I was really scared. And the thing is that Rose, who pretends to be a perfect little angel, took just as much part in harassing me and being threatening towards me and being hostile as anyone else. So part of this video is also to teach y'all about the situation. This is what we're going to be showing to be true, if I can get it lined up properly. Weaponizing the term aid and assist. In the U.S. domestic legal system, particularly in Oregon, the term aid and assist is a legal concept referring to criminal defendants' right to have the mental capacity to understand the charges against them and meaningfully participate in their own defense. By the way, every single mental health evaluator that had to do this decided that I was able to aid and assist. It says, the weaponization in this context refers to systemic issues and political claims, not a deliberate tactic by a specific party. Systemic failure. States like Oregon have faced lawsuits and court orders for failing to provide timely mental health treatment, restoration services to individuals found unable to aid and assist in their defense. Well, that wasn't a problem. I was found able to aid and assist by every single one of these psychologists and psychiatrists and so on and so forth. It says political framing. The term has become a focal point in political and county level debates about public safety, resources, and legal liability. County officials argue they lack the facilities and funding to manage these individuals, effectively shifting the burden from state hospitals back to local jails, not equipped for specialized mental health care. Weaponizing the claim. Some may argue that the concept is being weaponized by those who frame The release of these individuals into the community due to lack of state hospital beds is a threat to public safety to secure more funding or change state policy. The term is used in the general sense of using the legal situation as a political argument. Weaponizing the term mentally ill. Weaponizing the term mentally ill refers to the misuse of mental health language or diagnoses to manipulate, discredit, shame, or control another person. This tactic leverages the significant social stigma associated with mental health conditions to undermine an individual's credibility or shift blame. How the terminology is weaponized. Weaponization of mental health terminology occurs in various contexts and through several methods: discrediting and invalidating. Accusing someone of being crazy, overly emotional, or mentally ill can be used to dismiss their feelings, experiences, or concerns, especially in arguments or abusive relationships. Avoiding accountability. A person may use their own or someone else's mental health issues as an excuse for harmful behavior rather than taking responsibility for their choices and actions. Misusing therapy speak. Yeah, there's quite a few of these. So it says the terms learned in therapy, e.g., narcissist, boundaries, triggered, are often misused as labels to pathologize everyday human behavior or gain a perceived moral high ground. Political and public shaming. Public figures' mental health struggles have been used by media and political opponents to portray them as unfit for duty, as was the case with Senator John Fetterman, who stated his depression was being weaponized against him. Reinforcing stigma. The casual and derogatory use of terms like psycho, loony, or insane perpetuates harmful stereotypes and makes people with legitimate mental illnesses likely to seek help, less likely to seek help for fear of being shamed or misunderstood. Now that you know that Natalie Bollinger is very real, this right here, it says Natalie Bollinger's reported reasons for wanting to die were detailed primarily through the testimony and arrest affidavit of Joseph Lopez, the man who ultimately pleaded guilty to her 2017 murder. According to the affidavit and related relationship issues. Lopez claimed Bollinger told him she wanted to end her life because of problems with her boyfriend, stating she needed to get away from him because he was bad for her. Lopez further alleged she was distraught because she loved her boyfriend but did not want to leave him or hurt him. Mental health struggles. Investigators found through interviews with friends and family that Bollinger had a past history of suicidal thoughts. Now, one thing that it doesn't go into is her heroin use, and neither does the A&E thing. They basically try to portray her family as perfect angels. They were horrible to her, and that's the thing that my evidence has shown. And many people have shown little bits and pieces of evidence because it did come from Natalie. Now, let's take a look at the term gaslighting. Sorry about this. I usually press pause. It says gaslighting is a form of psychological abuse where a manipulator or gaslighter makes someone doubt their own reality, memory, or sanity, leading to confusion, low self-esteem, and dependence, often through constant lying, denying events, trivializing feelings, and isolating the victim. Key tactics involve denial, withholding information, projection, and, well, as you guys can tell, this is all the stuff that I've been going through. And there's the evidence of it very clearly with TFCC, which is what all of this evidence that I'm showing you right now, this stuff just helps you with an education. We're going to go through the actual stuff with the doctors and so on and so forth. Well, we're going to keep on reading this stuff because it is important. Why do trauma victims ramble so much? It says trauma victims often ramble due to an overwhelmed nervous system and need to unburden pent-up emotions, intrusive memories, anxiety, or as a fawn response, oversharing to please or connect, leading to racing thoughts, difficulty filtering information, and a sense of being out of control, which can manifest as talking rapidly, looping, or oversharing to process the unprocessed feelings and experiences trapped inside. This verbal outpouring isn't usually rambling, but a desperate attempt to find safety and release, often followed by shame. Why is it not okay to make suggestions or tell your story when a victim needs help turning in abuse? Talking about abuse can be hard, scary, and dangerous. Some abusers may even choose to retaliate if they find out that a victim has been getting support. What have my predators done every time that I've had support? Try to cut me off from them by any means necessary, any way possible, including gaslighting and slandering my name and threatening my friends and family, threatening them in person. It says every victim knows their situation best and they deserve to decide when or if they can safely disclose what's happening. Well, without a friend or family member, I can't safely disclose it. And we'll go over that in the abuse and neglect paperwork that I have here that is directly from the hospital here in Tillamook. It's from November of 2022. All right. In the paperwork, I am going to show you my PTSD diagnosis. This one right here, I wrote typed how a person with PTSD acts when abused. Now it starts off with the word aggressive, doesn't it? All right, don't be triggered by that. It says aggressive behaviors also include complaining, backstabbing. Yeah, those are apparently aggressive behaviors. Being late or doing poor job on purpose, self-blame, or even self-injury. Many people with PTSD only use aggressive responses to threat. That means that we feel threatened. That's an aggressive response. We are afraid. It also says they are not able to use other responses that could be more positive. Now, that's not actually true. I'm actually going to pause this for a second.
Ain't nobody killed nobody, you piece of shit!
Yeah, that very scary sound right there, that was so a predator named Andrew Wolnez, and we'll get into that. Him and his friends have been running around town telling people that I raped and killed Natalie Bollinger and that I'm a pedophile. And you got to hear there, that's the day that Mossum came at me with a pipe. And yes, I have PTSD from that. That was not the first time that he had done that. It's not the first time that I had to deal with that from him. The first time he was very drunk and he was swinging it very wildly. So that was literally that very same day right after the incident. And their quote-unquote key witness, Scott Brown, obviously he had already decided that I was a child molester and I'd killed a little girl, and he's screamed this stuff at me before. I just didn't know his name until court. Here's a video called The Situation Where I Met Bryn. This situation is very specifically one of my predators here in Tillamook, Oregon. They want to, in my TFCC paperwork, they wanted to pretend that this was a delusion, that I made this up, that this is a fixed delusion of people threatening me and assaulting me over the death of my friend. Well, let's see what actually happened here, if it'll load up. Hopefully it will.
Apparently there's someone yelling at my car about hiring someone to beat them up. Oh, it's Chris Stafford trying to pretend I hired someone to beat him up. 909 PCT. You fucking little girl stalking piece of shit, motherfucker. Yeah, report me. I told you. The cops are gonna fucking laugh at you. You're a piece of shit. Yep, that literally just happened. That's Chris Stafford. He assaulted me and threatened my life on multiple occasions. Yep, I told you. Who fucking hired somebody to fucking try to beat my ass?
Now you might notice here, I'm recording because if I don't record, then I'll get treated like this is a delusion. Well, I get treated like it's a delusion either way, but at least I have proof that these people do exist, that they are harming me. It is over the Natalie Bollinger situation. Of course, with this guy, there's also the situation with him assaulting me and threatening me and telling Amanda, God, I can't remember her last name at the moment, he was telling her that he was going to hurt me too over Natalie Bollinger. So, like, there's a lot of evidence of this, but you don't care. Now, you can also tell I'm talking calmly, unlike the PTSD stuff that wants to pretend we start off with aggression. No, 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 no. It's more like Claire was saying, we're backed into a corner. I'm talking nicely, and I'm not talking to him. I'm addressing the camera.
Nobody tried to hire no. Stop! Stop! Get away from me! Get away from me! Get away from me! Get away from me! No, you can't! Get away from me! 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 Get away from me!
You notice once he's gone, I go back to talking as nice as I can, but it's...
This is the Tillamook Library parking lot. I was trying to claim I hired somebody to beat him up. What a fucking nut.
Alright, so this is the third assault by Andrew Wolnez. I skipped through the very beginning because I don't feel like playing all of it. But this guy wanted to call me a pedophile, called me a child molester, called me a murderer, claimed that I had murdered Natalie Bollinger, and just wouldn't leave me alone. I had to get a permanent protection order against this guy, and he still breaks it. I have to be afraid to go outside because of people like him, because of people like Chris Stafford.
Fucking do not threaten. You wanted for murder. I am not. Yeah, you lying sack of shit. You wanted for murder. Fucking lying sack of shit. You are. You fucking dumbass. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, in Colorado. Look it up. Get the fuck.
I told you. Where was Natalie Bollinger killed? Colorado. This is literally years after Natalie Bollinger's killer has gone to prison for it. And of course, one of the other things that they want to bring up is that they apparently sent out investigators to the jail, but they didn't show up to investigate. They showed up to bully me and to try to discredit me. But the first investigator they had come talk to me wouldn't hear any of this. She wanted to pretend all of this was delusional, talk over me, disrespect me, and of course, oh, here's something that literally just popped up. It says, "Your suffering is funny." Your suffering is funny. Yes, that literally just popped up while I was recording this. So yeah, these are definitely not delusions. This is definitely a very real thing. Also, all of my psychological evaluations show that I told the truth, and that's very specifically because Deputy Taylor admitted to the Natalie Bollinger situation, which is what all of this is for, or all of this is from. So in the TFCC paperwork, they're basically a rubber stamp for this inhumane treatment. The repeated assaults that I had to endure inside of the jail and outside of the jail, but I can't record it inside of the jail, can I? I have to try to requisition their cameras, but when they arrest me because a man who wants to... Yeah, we got to hear Scott Brown accusing me of killing a little girl. We got to hear this right here. This is Andrew Wolnez accusing me of killing a little girl. This is horrible stuff to go through, all because people wanted to use the term mentally ill to prevent me from being heard. The police did this because before Natalie was killed, I had to try to go to them, and they just ran me around in circles, same as they're doing now. In the next video, we are for certain going to go through a whole bunch of evidence, and hopefully this video and that one will go together in a series. But while we're on the topic, we're going to scroll over here to the side. We're going to look at some of my notifications, right? There are a lot of people who have scrolled into my stuff and, of course, laughed at my suffering, like this guy here. Chris Stafford, and yes, several of the officers in the jail. There was a lot of laughing. They thought it was hilarious. Now let's watch this for half a second or so.
Fucking, this guy knows telekinesis. We just fucked with him for years. Damn. It's just, he's funny. He just spazzes out, bro. He won't get up.
Just spazzes out. Well, what am I spazzing out for? You got to see the thing with Chris Stafford. Did I freak out for no reason? Or was it when he approached me? Did I ever approach him through that? No, I didn't. Same thing with the Andrew Wolnez thing. You can see I was literally in my car the whole time. Now we're going to get into, they want to pretend that I'm schizophrenic. It says persons with schizophrenia are undoubtedly at increased risk of becoming victims of violence in the community setting, with risks up to 14 times the rate. Now, obviously, with all of my psychological evaluations showing that I am not schizophrenic, because they actually looked up the Natalie Bollinger situation and got to see some of the violence against me, and there's a lot more. It says autistic people are at a significantly higher risk of experiencing assault and other forms of violence compared to the neurotypical population. Studies show they are 2 to 3 times more likely to be victims of physical or sexual abuse, with some reports indicating even higher rates of specific types of violence. Overall victimization, key statistics. As many as 90% of individuals with autism may experience some form of abuse or victimization during their lifetime. Physical violence. Up to 60% of autistic adults report experiencing some form of physical violence, a significantly higher rate than in the general population. Sexual violence. A CDC study found that 1 in 4 autistic adults have experienced sexual violence, compared to 1 in 7 neurotypical adults. One study focusing on autistic women found that nearly 9 out of 10 participants reported experiencing sexual violence. Yes, it's a very serious situation. Childhood maltreatment. Autistic children are approximately 4 times more likely to report experiencing child maltreatment, including physical and emotional abuse from adults, compared to non-autistic children. Polyvictimization. Autistic individuals are more likely to experience multiple forms of victimization, polyvictimization, throughout their lives. Here's how popular the Natalie Bollinger situation is. It is extremely popular. Oh, see pictures of me. Oh yes, these must be delusions, mustn't they? I must be making these stuff up, huh? Right? Oh, there's another one of my predators. Well, 2 of them, actually. Both this woman and this is Ted Bollinger as well. He's the one that, well, you guys got to read a lot of that. But look at all this. Yup. And none of them can get the story straight. And all of them want to paint me as a delusional stalker who couldn't take no for an answer. I guess we're at Natalie stuff here. Now these ones are in English. There's a bunch of them that are in foreign languages too. Like I said, I'm not the only victim. This one we only need the first 30 seconds of the video. I'm monitoring the situation but trying to mind my business. There he pushed it, so I get out to make sure that it doesn't get violent. See how she's walking away from him? When she comes around, he slows down. When she comes around to get away from him again, he runs up and socks her in the back of the head. Like, did you hear that? Rewind it and play it again.